Danielle Nolan. She is co-owner of D&K Presents. You can see it on her shirt. She can lift up a little bit.
Woo! Yeah.
They do women retreats and mountain bike coaching, backpacking, climbing, all of the jazz of it. And she gave birth last April 2019. And I kind of wanted to talk to her about her experience going through that, being somebody that's in the outdoor industry, having to get back to work to do all these outdoor activities that all of us love and want to do, and kind of her experience going through that, because I think a lot of us have different experiences and we learn a ton. And talking to somebody about that that's been in there and that's done it and that's continuing to recover from it, even 10 months later, it's kind of an eye-opening and making sure that you're not alone. So Danielle, welcome.
Thank you.
And tell us a little bit about your pregnancy and being postpartum.
Yeah. So I feel like I had a really good, pregnancy overall. I know a lot of my friends, some people get really sick, for the whole time, which is just so hard. I can't imagine. I mean, mine was, the first trimester, that was when I probably felt like, the most, I guess, nauseous. But again, it wasn't that bad compared to, other people's stories that I heard. But yeah, and I had a really smooth pregnancy. I was able to ride. For me, yeah, I had him April 9th. So I got pregnant at the beginning of July. So I was able to ride. I rode until I was 38 weeks. So I rode as much as I could, and I was active as much as I could be. And that, I think, really helped me the most. I know every woman and every pregnancy is different. So, I always say, like, talk to your doctor, talk to your, healthcare provider about what works for you. And for me, I was also like doing this a lot, obviously, before, I was pregnant. So I, was doing a lot of rides. I also teach yoga. So I was teaching a lot of yoga classes. I like to run, backpacking, of course, too. We actually did this big backpack trip. I didn't know if I was pregnant or not on this trip. And then we took a big group there in like 20 weeks later. So I was like, now I'm like halfway through, and we're like guiding this big women's trip in the Big South Fork, which is in Tennessee. And it was just really cool to have that, like, I'm halfway through, and and doing it. And and I think for me, that really helped with my recovery. So that was one thing that I know, as far as like tips, like, that I was able to stay active. And like when I was teaching yoga, I had some pregnant ladies that saw me and were like, it's so encouraging to see you, like, still, in my third trimester, like teaching classes and, and obviously doing some modifications, of course. But I had a smooth pregnancy. And he, my son, he also was almost 2 weeks late. So he was like not, wanting to come out. And so that's kind of a whole, even another story, because he, we were planning a home birth, and he was just cozy in there. Didn't want to come out.
I don't want to come out, Mom. I'm fine in here. This is perfect.
I know. I don't want to come out. Why? So, but so he, was like 12 days late, but was able to. So, and we ended up at the hospital just because I went into labor, but it was just prolonged, and I just wasn't really progressing in my labor. And, my midwife and we all, thought that it was best that we just continued at the hospital, because Kate and I had been up all night, and the first time, going through everything, it's just all new. But
yes.
but just happy I was able to still have, a natural birth. And at 9 pounds, 2 ounces. So he was big because he was in there for a while.
I was gonna say he was in the extra cooker for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, he was a big boy, but big, healthy. All I just wanted a healthy baby, and he's, still growing, still a big boy. And yeah, so that was, yeah, my pregnancy was good. And yeah, I mean, I rode till 38 weeks. And then at that point for me, yeah, I was just big and uncomfortable. Of course, towards the end, I mean, I was like hiking and doing like lunges and like, I'm just like, I'm ready. I'm ready to get this baby out,
Let's go. Oh my gosh. I know that there's a ton of moms that we have in this group, in this almost 3,000 ladies in here. And if you
Awesome.
had a pregnancy or gave birth and it didn't go as planned, just say in comment below. Tell us a little bit about it, because I'm sure that's probably more so the norm
Oh,
than
yeah.
the exception of like everything went perfect into plan.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure all of us had a little bit different story within that regards of
Oh, yeah.
things did not go well or things that didn't line up as we wanted them to.
For sure. Yeah. I know when I mean, like I was talking to my sister because she has 2 kids, and I was like, this is our birth plan and it's just going to be great. And there's going to be like angels coming from the sky. And she's like, and then there's what really happens. And she's like, well, you have your birth plan and then you have, what actually happens, which is usually something different. So yeah, another suggestion is, being open to whatever happens, just go with it because you can try. And it's just like, I always say this, just like an adventure on our trips. Like you plan as much as you can. It's funny to me that we plan adventures because there's only so much that you can plan. And then there's so much that is the unknown that you have to just go in with an open mind that, there's weather, there's, trail conditions, there's, equipment failures, there's all kinds of things that you have to, change.
Deal with.
Yeah,
Big
you have
change.
to figure it out. So,
Yeah. And so, Danielle, I know that you've had to get back to hiking. You've had to get back to biking because you're a coach. Like you plan these adventures, you go on these adventures, you guide these adventures. Like,
yeah.
how has it been coming back postpartum? Like, what are some of the things that you've had some struggles with?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm so glad we're talking about this because I feel like and we were chatting a little bit before about, once you have the baby, it's like everything like is all around the baby, which is amazing because you've done an amazing miracle of the world. You've brought new life into the world. And then it's like the rest of your life is totally, completely changed in the most beautiful way. But then sometimes, other things get put to the wayside, like your, self-care and, and just like, yeah, like workout routines, like, because everything is about this baby and they're not sleeping and you're not sleeping and, figuring out like, just having a bowl of cereal for dinner. I mean, just, food and, we tried to like meal prep as much as you can. And, you do all these things. I don't even know if we ever had to do that, but that was like one thing my midwife was like, do some meal prep, make sure you have like nutritious food. Like, so we, did that as much as possible. And, but yeah, I think, yeah, because, breastfeeding too, you don't want to get hangry because you can just get really, really low when you're breastfeeding, which I still am. But yeah, especially in the beginning because they just take it all out of you. So
I get hangry as it is right now, much less like thinking about having a kid taking part of my nutrition. Like my husband he has to watch out if I get hangry. my brother-in-law saw me hangry once. He's like, yeah. I never want to see you like that again.
Oh my God. I know. It's real. It's real. So start, preparing now. And even like, now, whenever I leave, I'm like, I make sure like I have my snacks, and Kate's like, do you have your snacks? And it's like, we have to have snacks for Asher and snacks for mommy too. And, cause we all have to stay healthy, but yeah,
Definitely.
I mean, like, recovery wise, like, I remember being, we were talking about Rome, the Women's Mountain Bike Festival. That was 5 weeks later. And I remember being there, and I was like, I can't even imagine sitting on a bike right now. Like, I was like, I'm not ready, but 2 weeks later, we have a big program that we do, a women's adventure giveaway. And at that event, I actually went on a bike, but I just like went around, and that was about 7 or 8 weeks postpartum. So it was like a slow, recovery. But again, in my case, I think I did kind of bounce back quicker than maybe some, but that's just because too, I was like, when can I start moving it? Like, when can I start doing stuff? And, and I mean, in the very beginning, you're really just like, they just tell you like, well, you can walk. And it's like, okay, like I can walk, and I can walk with my baby. And that is like, that's great. I mean, and I had him in April. So it was amazing, because we got to be outside every day all summer, and, hike. And I mean, for me, like, being out in nature, I mean, one of the reasons.
Probably made you in really a better headspace.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Just getting out. And even, and even for, my son, like sometimes like when he's crying, it's just like, okay, we just need to change the environment. And we go outside, and it's like, like, it's just your mood changes. And it's the same with adults, I think, so, I'm still, I can still feel, we were talking about pelvic floor before this again. And I think that is super important. Like, if you can find a class, I teach yoga, but that was even a new thing for me as a yoga teacher, learning about pelvic floor exercises and things that you can do, and doing them, while you're pregnant too. Again, I think, I try to do as much as I could while I was pregnant, because that's going to help you in the postpartum. That did for me anyway. But yeah, Definitely. But you are, yeah, still recovering. And it's like, yeah, your body goes through this complete change that's amazing, but it's like, wow, I just didn't know, everything's different.
I talked to a lot of ladies, and there's a lot of people that are even like years postpartum that they still are having issues from whenever they had their pregnancy. And I know there's probably a lot of ladies in this group that are that same way as well, that are still having some issues in relation to that. And a lot of times it's relationship with the core and their pelvic floor.
Yeah.
And understanding it, connecting back to it, getting and making sure they're doing some of their, as you said, your self-help, like your self-care. And they miss out on like a couple years of that self-care because they just baby. And they'll come and talk to me about either low back pain or just that they still don't feel balanced.
Mm-hmm.
And like understanding how that plays that role into it, and that it's okay if you still have issues with it, but it's probably that it's time to get some help for it.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think the sooner you can, start to try to, physical therapy or whatever it may be, that is just going to help you, be a better mom, and for your kid, for your children. And, I could even still tell, I did, I've done a couple longer runs lately, just because the weather here hasn't been that great for riding, this early, still winter, the rain, and, the trails aren't very good, but yeah, I did a longer, just harder, more elevation in my run. And I could feel like I had that feeling of like when I was like really, really pregnant, of all the pressure. You have all this pressure, on your pelvis. And it's just like this weird feeling. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that. But I obviously I am still recovering because I just went a little bit harder and longer. And I was like, oh, I still have some, just some recovery to do there. So
Yep.
yeah,
Definitely. And if you're out in this group and you're watching this video, either live or replay, and if you're here watching, I'd love to know that you're still here. Just say that say if you're still having issues. Say like, I feel ya, like still recovering with you, or I'm still in the process of getting back, because it takes years. It can, for sure. Like, you had a big trauma in your pelvic floor and to your stomach. Like, you carried something else.
Oh my God. Yeah. A baby, the placenta, and then, all the things that, there's so many things that come out of this tiny hole. And you think like, how is this possible? But it is. I mean, this is, millions of years we've been doing this, but, I mean, it's just a miracle, the whole process. So it does, I mean, even like last month, I was like, all right, 9 months in, 9 months out, like, here we are. And I'm like, wow, like it does, like, if you think about it, that whole time, like 9 months of like caring, like you're growing another baby, another human, and the placenta, a whole nother organ inside of you. And, it's no wonder, like, you're not going to come back right away. I mean, you need to like rebuild yourself. And I think, that looks different for everyone too,
Definitely. I think understanding that it is different for everybody, and that somebody can come back and have it be like bounce back really quick, and other people it's going to take years to manage that. And some of it's where you were before you were pregnant, just as you were talking, like you were very active before you got pregnant, and that changed everything. Buffy, who's on here live, she is actually pelvic floor PT and going to be part of the announcement that I'm going to announce here soon. Cool. She said she didn't feel completely normal again until 2 to 3 years after her second and third babies. Like, all right. Yeah. Really kicking in, like going for that long haul. So you go a little bit farther ahead of you, Danielle.
Yeah. That's all right. I mean, you know what? It's worth it. We wanted a baby, wanted, kids for a long time. And so it is so worth it. And, I mean, and I'm just grateful that again, even through my pregnancy, I felt good enough to be as active as I could. I mean, because I know some people just have a really hard time, their body just doesn't, there's all kinds of things, endometriosis, and, just have a lot of hard things go on with pregnancy. But I was just, really happy that I was able to do a lot. And I feel like that just helped me the most.
There's a lot of ladies that I know. I was talking to Buffy about this yesterday, that same pelvic floor PT. And she was talking about that 50% of ladies are developing prolapse. And that's like where things are pushing out of your pelvic floor and you don't want them to be. And it makes it even more important for us to talk about some of this recovery, and also the recovery that is years down the road, and making sure that you're not leaking still, and that you're not getting that pressure down into your pelvic floor, just like you talked about on your long run where you like pushed into it a little bit. That's that pressure pushing on that pelvic floor and those ligaments and those muscles that they're not ready for that, and that increase in pressure.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, I, just hadn't felt that. And then I was like, there it is. And I was like, more reasons to get back on the bike, once we've been doing, just when the weather's better. And, but there's I mean, I love to, we hike a lot too. And that's great. But for me, the pressure of running, was a little, too much for me. Too soon.
I definitely think there's other people that are even years out that still probably feel that as well. Yeah. And that they haven't gone through some of those recovery phases, or they need more direction of how to.
Yeah. Yeah. And, just, yeah, where we live now, we're in Indiana, but we're in Brown County. So we have like a lot of big hills here. So it's the only kind of unique place in Indiana where we have that. And we have some amazing mountain bike trails and great,
Yes, you do.
hiking and running trails. And so, and we're even still just exploring all of that because we're just here for biking, but even, finding all the hiking and running trails have been really cool. But also I'm like, wow, there's a lot of elevation
This goes up.
yes.
That's
Like,
awesome.
okay, just getting back into it.
Well,
So,
thank you
yeah.
for sharing with us like part of your recovery, how your pregnancy went, riding through it, and feeling that whole like, ooh, I don't want to get back on the bike, and then that slow progression into it. I think it's important for other ladies to know that they're not alone through that progression, and then also speaking to how this is not a quick recovery.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is definitely a process. I mean, and right now where we live, I don't know a whole lot of riders that, were riding pregnant and then like had a child, but I know a lot of my friends that, don't have kids yet, and some of them that already have kids. So just like, having that support group of women, I think is really good to talk to them about. And, like, oh, I'm going through this. I'm just like, tired. I remember too, also even, being active during pregnancy too. I remember just being tired more, like more quickly, and it's like, because you're growing another human, your body is taking on a whole nother role now. And, and when in the recovery time, it's like, just how my personality is, I'm like, I immediately, like, I just like want to be back in shape and I want to be like exactly where I was. And, that's just not like possible right away. So you just have to like step back and say, what is going to be my progression, and how can I still be active? I may not be right where I was, before I got pregnant, but, where, how can I continue to just stay active? I think that's so important. And we are, and I love now being able to, take Asher out. We have a Burley. So we've been doing like rides with him in the Burley, and
Nice.
so cute. It's just the best. And, taking him on a lot of hikes, and, he's not big enough yet to ride a bike. He's almost walking, but he pushes his bike because his legs aren't long enough, for the strider. And even we have like 3 bikes for him. I mean, this kid is just like, he's not even walking, and we're like, here, we have all these bikes. So, he'll be ready. But he's pushing his bike around, and,
That's adorable.
and I think, that's just another recovery too, like chasing after your baby, like you're going to be moving a lot. So chasing after your child is whole another like form of movement.
Especially now that he's almost walking.
Yes. I mean, and even like my his name's Asher, and when he was really little, like we did yoga like every day. Like he loved like being on my mat. So that was like that is a big part of my recovery. But he'd lay on my mat, and he loved like watching like my hands, and like just going in warriors, and like, cat cowing when he's right under me. He loved it so much. So I would, like try to just like make it like fun for your baby too. Make it fun for both of you guys, because that was something I loved. And now he's like crawling, like he's on the move. So, I'll lay him down, but he's like, whoosh, whoosh, like he's like crawling over here, like, like scaling the couch and all these other, so now, I'm just kind of like doing yoga and like, watching him and like running after him. So
Monitoring where he is.
Yeah. So now, and it's just funny because, there's so many, like, it's like every like 2 months, there's a different, like totally different stage that you have to like readjust. Like food is a whole nother, thing.
That's
So,
another topic in general and whole.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, and so I think recovery, I mean, now you have this baby, like your baby is part of your recovery too. And how can you make, and I'm just lucky, Kate and I like have this company, and we are about, getting outside and getting outdoors. And so that is part of now with our son. And
Sure.
that's been a huge thing too. So, being able to get outside with him and hiking and, now getting in the burley and biking, it's the best. So
That's awesome.
it's awesome. Yeah. So grateful.
Well, thank you so much for that and for sharing with us. And if you are a mom out there or if you are thinking about getting pregnant, just let us know. Comment like, I am a mom, I love it, or thinking about getting pregnant. This is helpful for helping you understand what's to potentially to come, because everybody's a little bit different through that.
Mm-hmm.
And Buffy for hopping on my pelvic floor PT. So this is one of the announcements that I was going to say is that my core program that I have online that's available, Buffy is actually writing a prolapse and incontinence part of that core program. It's how it's developed is into levels. And so you test into what level that you're in, and whether that's like a hip flexor popping or levels 1 through 5 of like strength, or if you need to go into more of a prolapse or incontinence level first to help understand yourself and understand if you, even years down the road, you may be still having issues with this. And I want to make sure that you guys get the help you need. And since I don't know as much about it, but Buffy does, she's a pelvic floor PT. And it just happened that I had the conversation with her yesterday, and I've had this schedule with Danielle for month and a half now, scheduled, that it just worked out that things all came together and it's all coming along. So if you're interested in the core program, just say core below and I'll send you a message with some more details. And then Danielle has an announcement about helping out some other ladies too.
Yeah. So through our business, we do, excuse me, thought I was gonna sneeze, sorry. Every year we do a women's adventure giveaway program. So this is like our big scholarship program we offer every year. And so now until the end of the month, which is Saturday, you can nominate a woman that you know who could use an adventure in her life. And we have, so nominate a lady. If you go to our website, DeanKpresents.com. I think you'll have links in the notes of this show, but we'll send you all that info. But we give 4 women a free 4-day trip that's guided by myself and my wife, Kate, who have our adventure company. This year, the trip is being hosted at Mulberry Gap Mountain Bike Getaway. So that's our base camp. And that trip always takes place the 3rd weekend of May. And the winners get a whole bunch of awesome gear that they get to keep, over like about $1,500 worth of free gear they get to keep.
That's so awesome.
And bike stuff. And so if you know a lady who's, someone, we always say, could be someone really inspiring in your community, a coworker, a friend, your mom, your sister, your aunt, your, best friend, anybody, or someone that maybe just could use something good to look forward to. If, someone that's gone through a challenge or obstacle in her life, please share her story and tell us why she deserves to win an empowering wilderness adventure. So
that's awesome. And so if you're interested in nominating somebody, I'll make sure that you get the link and to it. So just say, I have a lady I want to nominate, or send me the link to nominate, just some type of comment like that. And I'll make sure that either Danielle and I comment back and make sure that you get that link to nominate, because it's such an amazing thing that you guys do. And sharing it for 4 different ladies, because there's some of us ladies that we don't either have the funds, the time, like we just don't think about us first. But if we get nominated and win something, it kind of pushes us that we have to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, I know. That's a lot of, yeah, I mean, I just think, yeah, a lot of women, we don't take the time, or maybe, we don't, have the time or the means or the funds to do something like this for yourself. So, this is our favorite thing we get to do every year, is just to, yeah, provide this opportunity. It's so much fun. We have a selection committee too, from a diverse group of people from all over the country that reads through them, and that we do go through a narrowing down process, which is the hardest part.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, but everyone, I tell people, and they're like, everybody knows somebody, that could benefit from something like this. So many of us can. So yeah, it's my favorite thing. And we're actually forming a nonprofit just with that program, so we can grow it. Yeah, so we can grow it to more, and offer it, more than once a year, to more women across the country. And awesome. Yeah, so we're really excited about that too. So
that's super great.
Yeah, thank you.
Love it. So if you want that link to nominate, just say, like, I have a lady I want to nominate, or some other type of comment like that. D&K Presents is the company that's doing that. That's Danielle and her wife Kate co-own that, and it's freaking fantastic. One other announcement. I know you guys aren't expecting so many announcements today at the end of the session, but I also have finally finished my online skills coaching directory. And so it lists people around the country, some around the world, of different skills coaches near you, and ways to contact them, a little bit about their writing, and if they do private clinics or more group style. And D&K Presents is definitely on that list. And if you want to be on it and you're not, let me know. Just say that you need to get some information to put on there. Love to have more people. And then also, if you want the link to check it out, then just comment coaching directory, and I'll make sure you get the link to see what coaches are near you, and what potential different skills clinics and different things that you can do to help meet with other people and meet with other great coaches that are out there, and come together and get better at biking. Have more fun.
Woohoo! Yeah, that's what we're all here for.
I love it. Sweet.
Yes.
Well, if anybody has any other questions, let me know. Summer says, great job. She says they're so proud of us. And thank you, Danielle, for coming out and talking with us and sharing a little bit more vulnerable areas. But we really appreciate it.
Anytime. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to hopefully meeting you soon and riding together. That would be super fun.
I love it. All right, ladies, have a wonderful Tuesday.